So I made a video about the top 5 highest grossing comedy tours of 2024. So now I got the full top 10. So let's get into it. Number 10, Jo Koy, $26 million. Number 9, Adam Sandler, $27 million. Number 8, Jerry Seinfeld at $27.8 million. Number 7, Trevor Noah at $29.7 million. 6, Bert Kreischer at $29.7 million. Number 5, Sebastian Maniscalco at $36.5. 4, Cat Williams at $37.5. 3, Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, $42.8 million. Good for Fluffy. Number 2, Matt Rife, the confusing one, at $57.5. And number 1, Nate Bargatze, the best clean comic out there, at $82.2 million. So I'm going to go from 10 to 6 this time. If you want to check out the top 5, you can check out the other video. Number 10, Jo Koy. Man, Jo Koy had an interesting 2024. He was chosen last minute to be host of the Golden Globes. And it was so close of time that I don't think he had time to prepare. And I like Jo Koy. I think Jo Koy is kind of humorous. So he gets there and he bombs. He made a joke about Taylor Swift, and she just kept on sipping her drink, looking upset. The audience just didn't connect with Jo. And here's the thing. That's for any comic. You could go to one city and kill, and go to another city, do the same jokes, and they don't like it. So for Jo Koy, the Golden Globe audience just isn't his audience. But to be fair, that entertainment audience in Hollywood, they're just hard to entertain. The Oscars are the worst. At least with the Golden Globes, people can drink, but they did not like Jo Koy. And my fear was because he makes his money on the road. Like, he doesn't make too many films. He doesn't have a TV show, so his money come off the road. And the fact that he made $26 million tells me, even though the Golden Globe audience hated Jo Koy, his audience loved him. And maybe it helped because some people say, well, is he really that bad? No, he's fine. Jo Koy is fine. So shout out to him making $26 million. Number 9 is Adam Sandler. He's like Seinfeld. He doesn't have to go on the road, but he loves stand-up. He started off as a stand-up. He started off with Chris Rock. Him and Rock came up together like in the mid-'80s. The first time I saw Sandler was on an old MTV TV show, Remote Control. He played Stat Boy. He went from there to SNL. He gets let go from SNL, which I still don't understand why, because he was funny on there. And then he started making his movies, started making Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, without Lorne Michaels. Lorne Michaels makes horrible movies. and Sandler, even Will Ferrell after him realized, no, if I'm going to make movies, I'm going to do it on my own. And Adam Sandler is just rich beyond rich, man. He is like the poorest dressing dude who is super wealthy. He has so much money. But the fact that all these years later that he started off as a stand-up comic in the mid-'80s, and he's still making $27 million on the road when he doesn't even have to do it, pretty amazing. Number 8, Jerry Seinfeld, the same way. Seinfeld probably has more money than Adam because of that deal that him and Larry David has for those Seinfeld reruns. I mean, those dudes make like over $100 million each every year off those Seinfeld reruns. The only person I think that's not close, but the cast of Friends, I think they make like $20 million each year off their reruns, which is great. That's why I don't think we see David Schwimmer much anymore, because it's like, I could live off $20 million. Why not? we see the gals. We see Courtney, Jennifer, and Lisa, but we don't see the guys as much. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry. But yeah, Seinfeld doesn't have to go on the road, but he loves being a stand-up. And Jerry started stand-up like in the late 70s. He started stand-up. So the fact that he's still on the road making $27.8 million when he doesn't have to at all, that man just loves comedy. Number 7, Trevor Noah. I like Trevor Noah on The Daily Show. It was hard to replace Jon Stewart with anybody. I think if Jon Stewart would have chose somebody that was already part of The Daily Show, like John Oliver, I think he would have been fine. But he went with Trevor. He went a different direction and chose Trevor Noah. I think Trevor Noah was fine. I think he was a fine host. I think if it was just the Trevor Noah show and not The Daily Show, I think Trevor would have been okay. But because he was coming after John, I think people expected more. But he did broaden the audience. He brought a more international audience, especially from South Africa, into The Daily Show. That was actually a good thing. And then one day, Trevor Noah was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that seems to be a thing that I see from international hosts who host American TV. Craig Ferguson, he was great on The Late Late Show, but he left. James Corden, I like James Corden. He left. And Trevor, after a while, he left. But the fact that he made $29.7 million without a lot of fanfare, like the media really doesn't talk about Trevor Noah that much anymore because he's not on the Daily Show. I think a lot of this money is also probably international because he probably got a strong international base. So I was kind of shocked seeing Trevor Noah at number 7 here. Like I figured maybe he'd be in the top 20, but him coming in at number 7 is pretty good for Trevor. So it looks like he made the right decision for leaving the Daily Show. And number 6, Bert Kreischer, $29.7 million. He made a film a couple of years ago. I think he tried to make a comedy film. It didn't quite work out. But this dude is a road dog, man. This dude is constantly touring. I think his story was, I think he's actually the basis of Van Wilder, the Ryan Reynolds film, because he was this funny dude in college. And he just started this comedy career. And there's a lot of guys like that, like Bill Bellamy. He started off, I think Bill Bellamy was in college. He started off as a comedian. There's a lot of smart guys who went to college who became stand-up comedians. It's not just people who just dropped out of school or just had a high school diploma or they were just working at a job. There's guys who went to college. It was pretty smart people. I think Nikki Iglesias was in college. That she started that. Like, there's a lot of people who went to college who became stand-up comedians. So, hey, shout out to them. But yeah, Bert Kreischer, man, he is a road dog, man. I'm not really surprised seeing him at number 6. To be honest, I'm kind of shocked that he's not actually higher. So, he's at 29.7. So he's at number 6. And we got Sebastian, we got Kat, we got Fluffy, and we got Matt Rife. I hate to pick on Matt Rife because I got nothing against Matt Rife. I think Matt Rife is a humorous guy. I like Matt Rife when he's on Wild 'N Out. His little clips that he has on TikTok are fine. I just don't think he's super funny. But the fact that he made $57.5 million is just amazing to me. So when I look at this list and I look at who's in the top 10 overall, if you would have told me that Jerry Seinfeld made $57.5 million, which he's done in the past, because I think Jerry didn't do as many shows. But if you told me that Jerry made $57.5 million in 2024 and Matt Rife made 27.8, I would say that's about right. that makes sense for Jerry Seinfeld to make that much money. Oh my God, that's a lot of money for Matt Rife. And then we got Nate. I understand Nate because Nate right now is the hot comic. Like, he's that dude right now. The surprising thing is there are no women in his top 10. And a few years ago, you had all these women. Like 10 years ago, you had all these women pop up. You had Whitney Cummings, you had Amy Schumer, you had Nikki Glaser. Like, you had all these ladies pop up, and there's like no ladies in the top 10. So if you went to see a lady on tour, who is your funniest female comic that you think is on the road right now that people should check out? So I'll we'll give the ladies some love here. But it kind of shows like the guys, like men and women, still like watching male comedians. Doesn't make it sexist. Doesn't make it woke. Doesn't make it anything. It's just like people just seem to like dudes better. I don't know why. There's a lot of funny ladies out there. So I'm sure if we expand out into the top 20, I'm sure we have a lot more female comedians. But it is kind of interesting that there's no female comics here. But overall, if we look at this top 10, if you've seen any of these people here, tell me about when you saw them in concert. And if you've seen multiple shows here, who do you think is the funniest person here? And who do you think is the most underrated? Funniest person of this list is kind of hard. I gotta say underrated might be... You know what, man? I go with Jo Koy. I think Jo Koy is the most underrated. Because when you look at this list, because people know Seinfeld, they know Sandler, they know Trevor Noah. Some people know Bert. People, Sebastian's been out there, Kat's been out there for years, Fluffy's been out there, even with my criticism of Matt Rife. People know Matt Rife and people know Nate. Jo Koy, of all these people that's here, it's kind of like he's like the most interesting dude being in the top 10 at number 10, especially coming off what happened with the Golden Globes. So the fact that he's on this list and the media, the only time they paid attention to him is when he got the Golden Globes gig and when he told him that he flopped. The fact that he made the top 10 shows you that he is a funny guy. He just had the wrong audience.